That's what he.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Capital Budget Committee meeting of October 20th. It's 5 p.m. I'll call the meeting to order. My name is Sandra Fife. I am the chair. Usually do a roll call of members, even though right now we don't have anyone on Zoom, but let's start by doing a roll call. We'll start with you, George.
Here.
Danielle here.
Ben Smith here.
Sandy Fife here. I know we are expecting at least one other member, and she will be here shortly. So we have the minutes of October 14th, 2025, last week. It was sent out to everyone. And so I'm looking for a motion to approve.
So move. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Thank you very much. So tonight we have the school committee, school and the library. We're going to take the school first they have an article on the warrant, which we will be talking later in the agenda, but right now we're going to hear from our school superintendent, Mr. Mark Smith, and
Susan Gilson.
and you are the
The new director of finance.
new director of finance. I know you met with a couple of our members. Come on up to the table. So this is Article 13 on the warrant. We did the warrant a few weeks ago. And it was on the selectmen's agenda for tomorrow night. If you do tune in, they will be going through the draft. So I'll turn that over to you.
Super, yeah. So we met with the finance committee, it might have been last week. And so largely give the same information, then happy to answer any questions. And do you have a copy of the warrant in your packet as well?
I have the article.
Okay, yeah.
I did get it.
Sorry, I meant the warrant article. Yeah, I said the wrong thing. So the school committee, and working with the select board is seeking 1.5 million for the for feasibility study for the ME Small building. So and I apologize if I'm giving you any information that you already have, but I just want to make sure everybody has the full picture.
We appreciate it.
So starting as much as 7 years ago, prior to my arrival as superintendent, the school district has been submitting a statement of interest, which is the MSBA's application process for the ME Small building for either renovation or a new school project. Going into the 24-25 school year, they accepted our application, which brought us into the period we're in now, which is the eligibility period. Eligibility period started, forget the exact date, somewhere in March, and we have 280 something days to complete the eligibility period, which brings us to December 26th. And in that period, we have several things we have to accomplish. One of them was forming a building committee. Several of them were documentation that we have to submit to MSBA, enrollment, facilities plan, a whole bunch of documents that we have to work with MSBA on. And then the last big step is secure, prior to being invited into the next phase, which is feasibility study, you have to secure the funding for the feasibility study. So this is our last big step, would be to work with the voters in the town to secure feasibility study. I know working with the town office, we talked a bunch of different options. And the finance director for the town, as well as the town administrator, could talk a little bit more on the finances behind, but ultimately they determined, we talked about whether we were going to borrow or whether we were going to go through free cash. They felt the free cash option was the best from a long-term, because you don't have any costs associated with borrowing. So ultimately they felt this was the best path for us at this time. We are currently, our base rate for reimbursement is 57.11% on this project. We will be eligible for other opportunities to enhance that, but right now that's our base rate. And where the number 1.5 came from is, I meant to bring copies, I apologize, but I'm happy to pass these around. But there are, MSBA gives you a list of similar projects. You have to look at it from two different directions. One, it's an elementary school project, but then also what we're studying is essentially three things. We're studying a standalone ME Small project. So if this elementary school was just to be replaced all by itself, and then two different potential consolidation options. So one would be if we were to close ME Small and do some type of addition, extension onto the Station Avenue Elementary School. And then the third option would be some new consolidated site somewhere else, right? So you'd close both schools and build a new school somewhere else. So that was through most of last year through conversation with both the school committee and the select board. They wanted to make sure we studied all those options, put those options in front of the taxpayers, so the taxpayers knew sort of what all the costs were potentially before a final decision went in front of the voters, potentially for a larger, or, for a build option down the road. So knowing that we were going to be studying all those, they gave us elementary schools that were looking at consolidation, what feasibility studies have been. They ranged anywhere from 1.2 or actually 1 million to 2.5 million. Plus on their website, they have projects from going back, well, they go all the way back to 2014, but relevant ones from the last couple of years that range from 1.1 to 1.5. So we really felt like we were in the right ballpark for asking for this amount of money. Felt like we were in the right ballpark for the costs.
So this amount, I'm looking at the warrant, just so the committee knows, it includes the securing of owner project manager? Is that true? Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah. So it's the OPM for at least the feasibility portion of the project. The OPM, the designer who will do the feasibility study, and then getting us through a schematic report, which then will give us all the information we need to be able to present to the towns, sort of what's the best next step for us.
How long does the feasibility take?
Shoot, I got the same question. It's more than a year. I think I want to say it's 18 months is the next phase,
Okay.
but I might have
18
those dates, those timelines not exactly right.
So it probably will go on the town meeting in like 2 years, year and a half.
For the
The
the funding for, because then we'll have to get to, yes, we'll have to have a schematic design to ask, and I can probably look it up while we're sitting here.
Oh, that's okay.
They have, because they have
Yeah,
tons of
it-
information on the MSBA website, but
Great. Does anyone have any other questions, George?
Not this time.
Not at this- Susan, do you have anything you want to add? And welcome. I haven't
Thank
met yet, so. To the town.
No, I think Dr. Smith did a great job explaining, but it's an amazing opportunity for us to be a part of it. And I am excited to see it move forward. So, thank you.
I know, I've been over at ME Small doing eye screening many times. I see the buckets in the hallways and,
Yes.
so it's,
School-
we're happy to see
The
the.
school's tired.
Yeah,
We all agree.
my very first teaching job was at ME Small 26 years ago, and it was tired then.
Tired then?
yeah. It's just a crazy setup over there too. So
Yeah.
I think it is, but,
And just as an aside, I will say, Dr. Gilson's, she just started with us, and so that we have a strategic plan, and then she's which includes a capital plan for the district. So and she's jumped in full both feet. I don't know, I just lost my metaphor halfway through trying to come up with it, but and so by the time we get sort of this place next year, we'll have a lot more. We're developing our own 5 to 10 year capital plan. So, and she's done a lot of work in it just in the short period of time that she's been here. So we're excited to be able to have something that's, well thought out, looks at the district,
right.
over a 10-year span. So,
Because this has been an issue for us.
Yeah.
We tried, by charter, we have to put a 10-year plan before the
Right.
selectmen, and it hasn't really included anything for the schools except for the current year that we're now for funding. So we're excited to hear that, and we'll look forward to next year.
Great.
Excellent.
And
Look forward to
hopefully, right now, just so the committee knows, this article has not been entered into the portal.
Right,
so
I guess it's not there,
It's
so.
not there yet, but it will be there, so you can get it ranked,
Mhm.
hopefully by the end of the week, so.
Great.
I know you guys don't have access to the portal as of yet.
Yeah, I had been working with Jen Mullen, and
Mhm.
so, they were supposed to give us access, but I think there were additional complications with that access, so.
Without Bill,
Mhm.
we have a lot of complications. We'll admit we miss him on the portal.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm sure, well, don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about that. Well, I just gotta get the committee to go in and rank it.
Sure.
We can do our report.
Okay,
But.
Great.
Yeah, we had
but-
purchased our own version of the software and I think we had thought they were naturally connected and they weren't. So, because we have our
Yes.
ECCIP and that's where we're building out our plan. So I think we had thought they were just naturally talking to each other and they weren't. So
We understand.
Completely.
we lost our inside man, just like you all. did.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a big loss, but we're moving forward. Well, without any other questions, we thank you for coming
Thank
in
you.
and
Thank
Great,
well, hopefully we'll see you at town meeting and,
Oh, yeah, we will be there.
thank you.
We'll hear your presentation then also. Great.
All right.
Thank you
Off to
very
school
much.
committee. Thank you.
All right, have fun.
Yeah. All right, so now we're moving forward to the library. And come on, if you're welcome, Judy and David, you're welcome to come up to the table.
Then.
In a long time. So we have David Aronson, he's the new library director. Everyone knows Judy.
How are you?
And he's chairman of the library building committee. So, so he's brought a presentation for us to go through.
Yes, And,
Annually.
look at these after the fact, if people are interested.
Now, this article has been entered into the CIP. Thank you. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, so basically, Judy and I talked it over and figured it probably would make sense to get you caught up a little bit on where we're at.
Yeah.
And kind of where we're going with this project. So that's kind of the focus of this. So, if you look at and I printed it double-sided, so there's gonna be some flipping back and forth. Some things are something. But in terms of our timeline for this fiscal year, we did finally select a site after many twists and turns. Within I don't know if it was truly September or early October, but either way, basically the site is selected. We are in the ongoing phase of initial design and the submission of the required documentation to the Board of Library Commissioners. So that is due by the end of this calendar year. So that's what the architects are working on. And we will, whenever they have that stuff finalized, we will be getting that in. The BLC will review the application in the January, February kind of timeframe, get back to us with their feedback, a yes or no. And then assuming that they approve our design, we would then go to town meeting, and then obviously the ballot after that. So that's kind of the timeframe. If you look at the next timeline, that's something that the architects put together. This is kind of the timeline for the whole project. So right now, we had the feasibility study. Now we're kind of, well, at the break in between the two, if you will, because they're finishing up their portion and then everything's going to the BLC. Assuming we get the thumbs up from the BLC, then we go into a design phase, bid and construction. So that's kind of where things go from here. I've heard different talking timelines. I mean, probably late 2028, Matt said, maybe 2029, depending on how things, all
Well,
play out. So it's a busy time. All right, so looking at the budget to date, I got this from Jennifer. This was her kind of working sheet. We've got our the grant money. So the town to this point that's the third column is the town's contribution on that. The BLC grant is 100,000. We also it's not really the library operating budget, it's state aid, so that's also state money. There's been another 100,000 that's been kicked in, and then gifts and donations. And all of those have been for engineering, OPM, architects' fees, which obviously have been fairly substantial. There were actually a little bit that was added on because the site has changed so many times that they kind of had a rough plan for what the building was gonna look like, and then when we had to change sites, they kind of had to redo a lot of what they were doing. So, that's kind of where we're at with this portion of things.
Okay, so this is.
This is current budget.
This is current budget, yep.
Doesn't include the building of the library. or
Right,
the
so
grant.
these are just planning funds essentially, that we're using during this phase,
So right now, based on this, you roughly have a balance of 180,000.
something like,
Available to you.
yes, something like that. So, I did reach out to our contact at the Board of Library Commissioners, because I was looking for a little more information on, I thought it would be helpful for you to have a sense of kind of how they formulate their awards. So flip over, that's it. So basically, they have like a tiered approach, and as you can see, each chunk of money, there's a different proportion that they're going to give you. And so this is kind of the whole picture. If you flip over to the next page, she did sort of a rough calculation based on a $24 million total project cost, and this gives you an idea of kind of how this all breaks out. There are a couple of considerations that are specific to this project. The town has a need factor, they call it, of 8 and some odd percent. So that's a little extra money. And the GLE is the Green Library Incentive Program. That's something that, depending on the way that it's constructed, and obviously I'm sure this building would be built in accordance with all best practices on energy. There's some state money there. That's capped at $500,000, I believe. So this is kind of what they think the percentage would be based on a $24 million total project budget. So, the next piece of the puzzle is that there are several different categories for project costs. So there are obviously construction costs. But when the BLC looks at its awards, they're looking at what they call eligible costs, which include construction costs and soft costs. So, the eligible cost is something that the OPM puts together. For the purpose of what we're doing, the architects are saying the construction cost currently is about $1,000 per square foot. So that's kind of where we're going through. If you look at the next page, the OPM sent me this. This is their kind of draft working sheet that they're looking at. And it kind of breaks out so you can get some idea of like what the hard costs are, so the construction costs basically, and what some of these other soft costs are. A lot of them are obviously things like consulting fees, design work and whatnot, but they are part of the whole picture, and the BLC will consider them when deciding what our award is. So.
Okay. Very
Alright.
interesting.
So obviously, the way that she has this set up is the right hand is for a total project cost of 25 million. The left is for a $25 million construction cost. So there's the distinction between those two.
So I'm trying to figure out. So what is the 32 million?
The 32 million is if the construction budget is 25. The
Okay, so
25
the
billion,
total Cost would be 32.
right, the total cost, including all these other,
Soft and all
Mhm.
that.
yes,
All that jazz.
yes.
So that would be that less the grant is what we would borrow.
Basically, I mean, it just depends again, because these,
It's already been appropriated.
Right.
yeah, this is.
Small amount.
These are all really just numbers, just to show
Mhm.
how the
So I
numbers
know,
break out.
right.
It's really, we are nowhere near.
I was gonna say you're well
Project.
ahead of that. So.
Yeah, I mean, we're nowhere near being anything like, having even an approximation of what the number is going to be. It's just, we're just not anywhere like. So the last piece is,
Interject, the other
sure,
part is fundraising though, Sandy.
Yeah.
So
Oh, all right.
that has to
Okay.
be at a specific level, and I think that varies with the overall cost of the project.
yeah, I think it does.
But that is a substantial support part for the budget.
Yes. And if you, I do have a little thing on fundraising. I did meet with, so the South Yarmouth Library Association has been very, proactive, I would say, about this. They have already done quite a bit of legwork. I think their thought is that the cleanest process would be to create an independent foundation, even though I think legally they probably could do the fundraising because they are an independent entity. I think their thought is that it would be cleaner just to have a foundation that's totally separate. So they've actually done quite a bit of research right now on what's going to be involved, how you would start this organization, identifying fundraisers, how things would be structured. It's mainly a question now of, who's going to fund it and how they're going to do that. And they need to get a little bit more legal advice on that as to whether, they can take money out of their coffers to start a foundation or whether that has to come from some outside source to keep everything clean. So, but they're they seem very, organized, and they're certainly, very engaged. We had a long meeting about this. So I would expect that they will get things rolling pretty soon on that portion of it. So, and, it just depends. I know Eastham, I think they raised somewhere in the range of 5 million. So depending on where, how things work out, it could be a significant chunk of the whole pie. And obviously there will be other things that we will have to spend money on, but that's a whole different story. So, so I don't know if you have any questions. I just gave you my email address. If you get anything after the fact,
I know
by all
that-
means, email me.
For the committee, there is an awful lot of information on the website. In the Town of Yarmouth website, under the library project.
Just show and tell.
All the PowerPoints that the architect has done out there, all the minutes from all the meetings are posted out there, and all the previous studies are also posted out there. Now, this is an annual town meeting article. Not only committee doesn't look at annual town meeting till after Christmas, until the draft warrant
Yeah,
comes
they are
out.
all different.
Those,
Owner's project manager.
Sorry,
That's a state requirement.
okay. And I know it was important,
how much did that change the whole design element of it? Quite a bit.
well, yes, significantly.
All right, can we talk through the chair, please?
Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. I mean, I don't mind you asking questions, but ask them through the chair so we don't have multiple conversations going. That would be great.
Yep.
We had criticized them, come to, someone watching the meeting. So does anyone help? This is, picture of the current existing plot plan.
Yes.
And they're looking to, right now, to put the library over in here.
Yes.
Which looks difficult looking at this picture, but when you see the diagrams that the architect has done, they're amazing. And you might want to go onto the website and check those out, or at least, or watch the presentations to the board moving forward. As I said, this is an annual town meeting article.
And the layouts are really, I mean, we're not anything close to having
Right.
really
Just
more,
estimate, and,
yeah.
you know,
They're primarily just to give some sense of roughly where things might be and kind of do all the pieces fit
Right.
under the footprint. I know they said that there were some things that they have to do as far as sizing and whatnot of, I mean, they have a lot of work to do even to get to the level of design that they need to.
Chairman of the Finance Committee. Quiet. You can't ask him a question.
Judy knows firsthand about the site because we walked around there last week and
My clippers.
How many square feet is this proposed building?
right now they're talking in the range of 24,000. So it's
That's where they came up with the number.
The number.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice.
Committee. Any other questions?
Nope.
We'll probably have you guys come back after the holidays when the draft warrant comes out. We usually have people that have an article on the annual town meeting come in. And at that point, you probably have a lot more detail and a lot more, final numbers to, especially if it's going forward in April.
Yeah.
So we will see you in the spring. It's usually like in March, February or March. We do our final presentation to the board in March. So it's probably will be in February. But
Will the BLC, you think, vote on it by March?
I would imagine so. I mean, I went to I attended a Zoom meeting and they were saying, you know, the sooner you get it in, the sooner we'll get back to you. I would imagine as long as we're not rushing to get in at the end of the session, we'll have an answer by March, but I guess we'll see.
so there is an article on the town meeting warrant going to be talked about tomorrow night for the structural and design analysis for the Lawrence MacArthur building. Can you talk about that just a tiny bit? So that, because it is on the warrant in the next 2 weeks. So I don't want the committee to go to town meeting and be surprised. Because it does mention the library in the warrant.
Yeah, so there's the select board has expressed an interest in having that building evaluated. At this point, the discussion is primarily around doing an evaluation of the building. I think that basically there would have to be two parts to that, to any potential reuse of that building. The first would be an evaluation of the building as it sits for, you know, all of the considerations that may apply. And then there would, if there were going to be some even discussion around using that as, you know, whatever, then there would have to be formal design work done on what it would look like to fit that out as, you know, whatever it would be fit out as.
So it's going to look at both the structure and the design, I think.
Well, this is just for an evaluation of the existing facility. This is not money for any type of design work if, you know, if there was some consideration for using it for another purpose. But my understanding, and I won't speak for the select board, obviously, is that the feeling is that it is sensible for the town to know where the building is at, really. And then whatever potential uses it may have going forward, at least the town has some sense of where things are currently, so.
All right, so that's coming up.
So one of the things that's really significant about this is in 2022, Cape Cod Collaborative, who is a present tenant,
Mhm.
subcontracted under Bridgewater State,
Right.
poured in $2 million, and then they found matching funds, and I can't remember if it's 2.2 or 2.3. That was just done 3 years ago. So over $4 million was done to upgrade whatever they needed to upgrade. There was HVAC upgrades, there were other kinds of things. And if the town decides to change the use of the building, that changes a whole bunch of other code issues. So as long as they were staying within the use of school,
Mhm.
they could upgrade within certain parameters. And then that introduces a whole new ballgame if you change the use. So this present study is really just the conditions and doesn't go into those potential issues, which are
Reuse, right.
a very long list. That's a very long list.
Yeah.
All right, well, stay tuned. That's all I can say. I mean, it'll be on the warrant coming up in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whenever it is. And I'm sure you'll hear more about that particular article at that point. Anyone else have any more questions on?
Jenny?
Yep.
I'm just curious, if you were to characterize the primary use of the space, you know, what it's for. And I'm coming from a different perspective. I've spent my life in academics and I've used many research libraries, entirely different. But what are we building a building for here? For the last 50 years, I am that old, you know, libraries have changed dramatically.
Yes.
And I've been in a couple of institutions where the libraries were roughly newly built, so quite different from everything from a large research university, which had been there for years. So it had old buildings that the library was in to other schools that have built new. And clearly the space became different and the use became different.
Yes.
So I understand this is serving a different market, but I just curious, what are the primary characteristics
Sure.
of the space that's needed?
So this specific building is a little different than some other libraries in the sense that there's a whole community wing, which you could say what this is. With the idea being that this will be kind of a resource for the community at all different points in, like for after hours meetings and things like that. It will be designed so that it can be used by groups whether the library is open or not. I think that's the intention. So that's a little bit unique to this specific building. Not that lots of libraries don't have rooms like this, but this is really a big part of the design of this building. Then obviously children's services are our bread and butter. So all kinds of things in support, that's why there is a dedicated children's wing. In the current library, they really don't have any facilities for teens. We have a very, very small teen room. So part of the work that's being done on this is to expand teen spaces in support of that program. We have staff. We have a staff member whose primary focus is on teens, but we just don't really have the physical space to do the kind of programming and outreach that we would otherwise do to that age group. In addition to obviously the early childhood stuff that is, story times and bread and butter. I mean, that's the bread and butter of every library. On the adult side, in addition to the collections, which our current space, we're just totally constrained in terms because there's literally nowhere to put anything anymore. There's a lot of demand now for study spaces, co-working spaces, things like that. Public computers actually, despite what people might think, continue to be very heavily used just because there are lots of people who, don't have access, whether because of financial concerns or because of just a lack of knowledge about these things.
Is it
to-
use of the CPU, or is it the use of their peripherals that the CPU drives?
Both, there's plenty, we do a ton of copy and print and scan and all that stuff. But even just people coming in to check email and pay bills and that sort of thing, there's a lot of that. Those are still very much a part of what we do. And, the study rooms are, especially post COVID, and now that there's so much more hybrid work and work from home and all this other stuff, they're just a really big part of what libraries do now because people are looking for those spaces where they can work outside of work. So that's a big part of, what this will offer us to do. Because right now we really don't have any space
David,
like
correct
that.
me if I'm wrong, but a lot of this is based on the study that was done and what the community wanted to see in the library. So that study is out on the town website. You can go look at it and see, it's not just based on what the architect sees, it's based on what the community wanted, especially the community space.
I'll also say that one of the things that I think they're really working on is obviously things keep evolving, service models keep evolving. So we're spending a lot of time thinking about like, all right, if we have these spaces, how are we building them in such a way that 20, 30 years from now when technologies change or, whatever, we will have the ability to use the space will still be relevant, even if the, maybe original design purpose is no longer, so.
Great question, Dorothy. We always have good questions. Anyone else have any more questions?
I guess Dave, the only question that I have is, I'm looking out 5 years from now, 4 years from now, this library gets built, I'm looking positive. What happens to the West Yarmouth Library? Does it change at all, or does it stay as is? Or-
Well, that's an open question. I know that there's a lot of concern about that branch. There's a lot of interest in it. I don't think it was part of the original plan, but given that there is so much interest in it, I think one of the things that I've been working on is to try to figure out mainly, what it would look like in terms of staffing, because it becomes a staffing issue. That's really where
Yep.
the rubber meets the road. The thing about that building, and I think it's a really kind of the first time I walked in. I was like, wow, this is kind of interesting. It's really, I think it's not really suitable to be anything other than what it is.
Right.
You know, it's a good sort of branch library, special programs, you know, as kind of a big reading room, but it has certain limitations that you would have to completely redo the building to
Right.
get around. I mean, there are no real rooms, there's no real,
Right.
there's no way to divide up that building and make, you know, private areas without totally changing the building around.
Mhm.
And at that point, I just don't think that would be, it just wouldn't be sensible. So I do think that if, you know, again, that's purely a budget and staffing situation, in my opinion. If we can find a way to, you know, keep it rolling, and I've got a bunch of ideas of different ways we might, you know, staff it and whatnot, but I don't see the building itself changing in layout or service or whatever, just because I think it's a branch library. That's basically what it is, you know, so.
I think we're gonna hear a lot more about this in the future.
Mhm.
There's definitely a lot of interest in that library. A
Yeah.
lot.
It's gonna come down to budget and,
Yes.
the board's gonna have to make some decisions, but it's.
Great.
Well, thank you very much, and
thank you.
we'll see you after the holidays, when we have more information and we have firmer numbers and we'll stay tuned to your meetings.
Thank you.
Okay.
Welcome you.
It's a long process.
Yeah. Not really.
Yeah.
Everybody's been great, but.
Like when Jane left, and she's my neighbor,
Oh,
so,
okay.
yeah, they got home that day and like there was still
Yeah,
food
we're all
music
shocked.
happening in the neighborhood. And I was like, what's going on? And then she sent me the video and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if they greeted you with it.
They did
but,
not.
They did not? How long you been?
This is week 4.
Ah,
Yeah. It's,
Give 'em a hug.
oh, yeah,
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Good to see you too. Yeah, to see you. Have a good night.
All right, so the next thing on our agenda is our recommendations for the fall town meeting articles. Now, I did give you I'll go through the articles, but I did give them to you. I didn't make a copy of the draft warrant because it was multiple pages and I didn't think they wanted me to waste. So I mentioned Article 5, which is the structural and design analysis for the former Lawrence MacArthur. We have not been asked to make a recommendation on that, so we won't. So we have got it. The first article, what we need to make a recommendation on is Article 9, and that is golf. And so let me just refresh your memory on what he did come in and do a presentation on what he asked for. So he basically has 4 items: Bass River bathroom renovation for $100,000, Bayberry Hills cart barn for $75,000, and the driving range improvements for $50,000, the Bayberry window replacement for $75,000, for a total of $300,000 from the golf department enterprise fund. The money will all come from the enterprise fund. Those you can read. As I said, he's already done the presentation. It is in the portal. So you can read more about that, but I'm looking for a motion to recommend those 4 items from the Golf Enterprise Fund for the fall town meeting, which is coming up on November 17th.
Move it.
second.
Okay, according to this, the retained earnings current balance is $2.7 million. He did said it was approximately 2 million, but it's $2.7 million. So I need more discussion.
Sandy, I do have one, just the only thing I just wanted to discuss for a quick second was the driving range. Because I'm curious on the time frame with the sewerage system needing the driving range as leaching. To spend 50 grand on a golf ball machine, which I think is fine, I don't have any issues with it. But are they even gonna be able to use it this year?
I'm not sure what the timing is on the sewer. It may be a few years down the road before, I'm not,
Yeah, they will not be able to open the plant on Buck Island without the driving range at Bayberry. Just so we're all on the same page.
but when is that plant gonna be? what-
Spring of, the proposed is spring of 28, I believe.
Yeah, so they can use this driving range improvement for
2 years.
2 years.
It's 2026, next 2 months.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's necessary based on what was told to us. I just wanted to bring,
Right,
make that point that that driving range is gonna get, demolished and rebuilt when they finally, open up the soil to put in a leaching system in there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I asked essentially the same question when they were before the finance committee. And the answer I got from Scott was essentially there will be no conflict, and I didn't push him on it, you
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was more curious about how it would impact. I wasn't even thinking of the point you were making that you buy this thing and, but apparently when I asked would there be any conflict, he said, no, there wouldn't be.
It's also I mean, it doesn't look like it's transportable, but you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe it could
Yeah, the
be.
machine's not transportable. It's
Right,
gonna be
but it
fast.
could be like relocated potentially,
potentially,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, during the construction, I mean, I'm sure there's way smarter people than I am. And then when
Yeah.
it comes to construction, all that, just when you spend 50 grand and some backhoe drills it and destroys it, So, because that whole leaching field is gonna be where the driving range is. Then they're gonna rebuild the driving range once that's done, so.
Yeah,
okay,
it's a good point.
yeah, if you want to hold off on voting on this article tonight, we can, and.
No, I just pose it out there just so we know. I'm fine with it going forward. I just at least wanted to put that on record.
So noted.
I mean, I think the location of the ball machine is separate from the
Right.
area the leaching fields will be in.
Right.
And it's the worst case
Yeah,
scenario.
because this is hooked to a building.
If they had to shut it down for a year.
Right,
They just lock the doors and I assume that's it.
right.
But he seemed to think that, Bidbury closes like the 1st of December. It doesn't open until April.
Oh, so even the driving range is closed at that time?
Yeah,
Oh.
the whole place is closed, yeah.
Okay,
So I think that was more the answer I got from him.
fair enough.
It's gonna be done
When they're closed, okay.
All right, so all in favor of those 4 items?
Aye.
Yeah. All right, the next article is Article 10, and that is the fire department capital expense to purchase the ambulance. For $550,000, that money will be coming from fire receipts, ambulance receipts reserved. And so I'm looking for a motion on that one.
Does it say how much is in the ambulance reserve fund?
Does not.
Okay,
We asked that question. Usually they do put it in the article, but they didn't, and they did on the golf, but they did not put it in the article on.
Yeah,
particular
I mean-
one. I'm sure they have enough money or Jennifer wouldn't have moved it forward in CIP because
Yep.
she's supposed to be making the financial recommendations, so.
so moved.
Second. Mark.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, well, the other fire department stuff we'll make recommendations on in a few weeks. Open space acquisition, we had, this is partially funded by community preservation, so 305,000 is from community preservation and 300,000 is from free cash to purchase the property that's down on Nottingham Drive. And we did hear that presentation from, I think her name was Brittany, but no.
Right.
um, Anyone want to make a motion to recommend?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, these particular articles, you do have to do your thing in here, and they're a little harder to find because they're not under pending. They are under 2026.
Oh, okay.
So, when you're doing your rankings and recommendations, then go look for the articles that are on the
2026,
2026 to
Okay.
find the few articles that
do
we
that
have.
tomorrow.
All right, we have, a total of 4 you're gonna have to look for. Actually, golf department has 4 items, so you gotta rank all 4 items.
Mm-hmm.
The last one is the elementary school feasibility study that we heard about tonight. It's $1.5 million from free cash, and as I said, that is not in here yet, so I will check with Jennifer to see if she can get it in by the end of the week. And so you can go in and do your rankings, because the report that's going forward to the board has our rankings in it. You know, it's cumulative, not individually, but the average ranking for each item is in our report. So I will take a motion on Article 13 to recommend moving forward with the feasibility study for ME Small.
May I ask a question briefly? Because I
Sure.
came in late.
Yeah.
That, I'm assuming, is a requirement for MSBA to fund if we get chosen? Okay.
Yes.
So,
Yes, it is a requirement that this is, and he kind of talked about different phases. And after the statement of interest, the next phase, he has to form the building committee and you got to fund the feasibility.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so that's the fall town meeting articles. Hopefully, some of us will be at that fall town meeting. It's on the Monday night this time, on the 17th.
I will have to go, so.
You-
Planning.
Yeah, you're for planning, so you'll be there, but we usually don't get called up to answer any questions anyway. We always had Bill, but we don't have Bill now, so,
Which means we won't have our meeting that night,
no,
right?
no. There's no meeting on that night.
Right.
But I do have a question. on the
Days in the
meeting.
calendar for this. Definitely.
All right, so the next item is, I'm gonna pass these out. Our next meeting is next week. And on next week, we have, community development, which I guess to best of my knowledge, CPA is not ready for us, so that won't take place until probably at the end, after the holidays. Whether they'll ever get entered into the portal this year, I honestly don't know. Bill was very adamant about getting CPA and the fall town meeting stuff into the portal and have us make a recommendation on everything, but he's not here now, so
Right.
they have a new, I met, community development department head now, who I actually used to work with at the town of Dennis, so I know.
Oh, really?
I know
Who is it?
Megan Tierney.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so she's new and, so as we can follow up on that. So next, we won't be talking about community development, but we will be talking about, and we already did our fall town meeting. What I'd like to get into next week is talking about our report and our observations. So if you look at last year's report, we made some observations. I'll pass these out. And I kind of tweaked them and made them shorter.
Good.
Because bills were really long. But what I want you guys to, you could read through this. And if next week we can talk about it. And if you have any other observations that you want to add to it. I guess Bob is gonna help us with our report. I am not really sure what he's gonna help us with, but we're gonna shorten the report substantially from what it was before.
Great.
Yeah, because one, I can't get the reports out of the system that we could get before. So I did this report. This is just a list of everything that we're recommending so far. Next week, we'll look at this and probably vote.
Thank you.
It does balance to the system with the exception of golf, which isn't in there yet.
It's not in there.
And the school is listed on here. I just wanted to note one vote that we made has changed. And that is the Bayberry Hills Recharge Area Final Design. When we've talked about it as a committee, it was $1.5 million. It looks like they've gone in and made a change to now it's $2 million. So Jeff must have got some information that that's everything else is the same as what we've already discussed at every other meeting. So next week, we will be talking more about the report I'm gonna see if I can meet with Jennifer. I need everyone to do their rankings.
Yeah.
So we can get the rankings. So you can see there's a column that's blank here. That I'm gonna have to fill in the rankings for all our items. Now, normally we only recommend things that are 3.0 or above, but I don't think that's gonna be an issue this year. Because we don't really have anything we're not recommending. In the past, we had things we deferred, but now it's the responsibility of Jennifer and Bob to do not bring them forward to us. Yeah. And I've tried to give them a heads up that might be a question from the selectmen, especially from Tracy, because she's always asked us, so what didn't you recommend? And
I was just gonna say, see, I know it's gonna be a question.
she asked it last year and we can't answer that. And
Number one, we haven't finished our rankings,
besides that, if
but.
it doesn't come to us if they don't recommend it.
Right.
I don't think there's anything on the list that we would rank below 2.0.
Well, is it below 3.0 that it's not recommended?
Well, no, but that's
It
been
just
our
depends on how
policy.
much money we have. So like,
Right, no, I get it, yeah, I totally understand that, it's all about what's available from a funding standpoint.
yeah,
I just can't, yeah, I just
Or what
can't
makes
think of any item that I would rank below 3.
Yeah, just asking, has there been,
There have.
since I've been on the committee, we've never not recommended something,
Well, last year it was the high school track,
right,
but
but that got withdrawn.
because that got withdrawn because they didn't have all the information.
But that never got voted on, I guess what I meant, has there
Yeah.
ever been anything in recent history for this committee that we've just said, no, we're not gonna recommend
I
it?
think that one of the initial years, this is gonna be back 4 years, the police trailer, there was the shooting trailer.
Yeah, the shooting trail.
But that was more because there wasn't enough.
Well, they have it now, so it must have.
Oh, well, they come up with money,
They come up.
the money.
We did give them some money for that. I thought we gave
We
100,000.
did, we gave them 100,000, you're right.
Yeah, and then they came up with the rest of
I
it.
mean, I'm not saying that we should just say no to everything, but
Yeah, so next week we'll be talking about our recommendations. Hopefully we'll have our rankings in, final rankings in. So the portal was down today, we couldn't even do your.
right, it's up now. so.
It's up now, but today was so slow.
And I thought it was my Wi-Fi at work, and finally I realized it wasn't working.
No, I asked Liam, he said it had to do with that whole Amazon thing.
Hopefully not buying a portal through Amazon.
No, I guess they own a lot of,
Yeah.
not just Amazon, they own a lot
I know.
of
No.
sites.
No.
And it affected any site that they owned, and I don't
Oh.
think they own it, but it was really slow today.
British government down today because of Amazon.
Did it really? The British government? Wow,
Really,
we're next.
yeah, well, my portal was down, but we'll try to get in and get your rankings done by the end of the week, because I really need to meet with Jennifer and delete
Okay,
any duplicates. And the way we will delete is we'll look at your rankings, and the last one that you did is the one we're gonna save, just like Bill did.
right.
So try to get those done, because I think I did most of it, but I did not do the fall town meeting. I don't think, I don't look at that, but.
So
So
what's the goal tomorrow night with the select board?
they're just going through the warrant.
Oh, they're just going through the warrant, that's all.
We have the final draft warrant.
Okay, so are we supposed to make a presentation to them? No.
No, our presentation, and I asked Bob today, is on December 16th.
Okay,
Is that Tuesday?
it's a Tuesday.
Yeah, so we have to go before the selectmen on December 16th. That's, yeah,
Look forward to it.
we do. So we
Are
will
those
need
6
up,
PM meetings.
Yeah,
yeah, hopefully that we'll see what time we get on.
Mhm.
We'll have to go through our report, and we'll have to do a PowerPoint.
okay.
I have the PowerPoint from last year. We'll probably just shorten
Shorten
it and tweak it. And the same with the report. So, yeah, so that has to get added to our schedule. the question I had for the committee, we're supposed to meet on October 3rd. I
November
didn't
3rd,
know,
you mean?
no, yeah, November 3rd. I didn't know if you guys could meet on November 10th, cancel November 3rd and meet on the 10th. Because we need more time to work on get our report done, because I have to work with Bob and Jennifer. It's not just, Bill doing the tweaking. It's something we have to write our own report this year. And, the only issue with the 10th I want you to be aware of is the 11th is a holiday. So I did check, the town hall's open on the 10th. We can meet on the 10th.
I don't have anything like that.
As long as we have a quorum, and then that night we'll be voting our report that will go forward to the finance committee. Now, I did check with Richard Simons, he just called me, but I'm supposed to go before the finance committee on the 19th, but you guys don't have to come. I mean, if one person wants to come, not by myself, but it's not,
I'll come on
if
December.
you come with me, it's not gonna be a meeting that we're gonna post.
Okay.
I have to be there.
You're gonna be there, so
Which hat are you wearing?
one other person besides you, we'll have a quorum,
We'll have to post it.
We'll have to
Well, do you want me to come then, or I'd be happy to come?
Okay, you can come.
But are we officially moving the 3rd to the 10th?
Yes,
Okay.
So we're not doing a meeting on the 3rd, or we are?
no, I don't think we need it. I need time to get this report.
Fine with that, trust me.
I haven't, I don't want to say this, but I just have an issue with some of the reports that are coming out of the system. And, like the 10-year plan, Jennifer said she'd help me with the 10-year plan, because the 10-year plan, if you go in under reports and do funding source by summary, the 10-year plan for 2027 does not equal our report. There's stuff coming in that I don't know where it's coming from. It's like, there's $1 million for septage and they don't even have anything. So I think it's pulling stuff in from last year or something. So she's got to help me with,
I think that's how they spread out the bonding issue with that, and I think that's what's causing it, so.
yeah, I don't know what it is. They always ask questions on the 10-year plan. And I need a detail of the 10-year plan. So if someone says, okay, under golf enterprise, it says $154,000. Well, I know there must be a borrowing or something that Bill put in there. None of these stuff that we've approved for golf is pulling into the 10-year plan.
Yeah, some of the stuff he threw into the balance stuff and you never knew where it came from, so.
Yeah, so I mean, and I can't tweak
So Jennifer said she'd work with you on that?
yes, she said she'd get me the 10-year plan. Now, I don't know if we have to do I don't know why we have to do a 5-year plan, because a 5-year plan is the same as a 10-year plan.
That's right, just
just-
cut in half.
So look at the first half and don't look at the second.
Or take the 5-year plan and times it by 2 and we're all done.
Bob did say that the 10-year plan is his priority this year. So I'm gonna be setting up a meeting with them to talk about how
Free cash number, how much free cash the
No,
town,
it wasn't certified as of our meeting on Wednesday night.
do you know about it, some George?
No, but it's due, it's imminent. Jennifer said something, I was wondering if you had heard, because I got the impression it's gonna be certified like Friday or something.
well, they need it, but for the town meeting, or they can't spend it. So
Yeah.
I'm sure the
There's a lot of
DOR
free cash.
is aware of that. And I'm sure they're putting pressure on the DOR, saying we got a town meeting coming up and they'll prioritize. As long as everything's okay.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything that wasn't okay. If I did, I wouldn't, but I don't know. So I'm curious to see what it is, because we're spending a lot
Yeah.
of
that's
free,
fine.
we got over $5 million in free cash in our recommendations alone, and there's other articles on the town meeting warrant that we're not even addressing. So, and that doesn't leave very much for the annual town meeting. If they have other funny articles, so. All right, so that is, let me see if I had, we talked about scheduling issues. We talked about, water issues, and you're gonna look at observations if you can think of anything else. I did observations and conclusions. Bill broke it out, observations on one page, conclusions on another, but they were basically almost the same thing, so I deleted them.
Good.
And we'll just do observations and conclusions. Thank you. Questions?
I like it. Simple.
Simple. We'll keep it simple. So with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. It's 5:57.
So moved.
Second is, me.
All right, so you have to shut us off.
Sorry.
Recording off. It's that little button he said at the top.
Top, that's right.
Where it
A little
says
one, this one?
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you
Night,
so much.
everybody.
Apologies for being late. End of season, no more